So after we prepare the T-pose calibrate rig with the Mixamo T-pose, in this course, let's just import the actual mocap data and see how much we need to tweak the animation. So what you need to do is just to directly import the typing motion clip. And in theory, in this new clip, we'll overwrite the T-pose joint group as long as they have the same name. So if we just import, as you can see, now our typing mocap data clip has already overridden the T-pose joint positions. And because our character controllers are constrained to those T-pose joint, so once the animation is overridden, our controller will actually inherit whatever the animation data that comes in with the FBX clip. And in order for us to do the secondary adjustment, we need to bake out the animation from the controller, because right now everything is just the joint. Everything is a parent constraint. So the next step for us is to select all the controllers and bake the animation out, so we can add another animation layer on top of that and do some other tweaks per shot base. And those main controllers I'm talking about is just those controllers that we just did the parent constraint to in the previous course. And then I'm going to be putting this character into a sort of a sci-fi captain seat, and the rest his arms onto those both sides of the seat, using the secondary animation layer to just adjust it. Here I use a plugin called Awesome Controller Picker to store some of the preset selections, so I don't have to click on those controllers every time when I want to select them. Okay, so now let's select all the controllers that we just did a parent constraints to, and starting from the foot, goes up to the leg and hips. That's a very important one. And the spine, 3 spines controllers, and shoulders, to the shoulders right now, and arms, forearm, hands, and don't forget about the neck and head. So keep those controllers selected. After we selected all the controllers, and keep them selected, and we click the add picker. Let's call them hero all. And after we pick a color, right now if we click that picker, we whatever we just selected will be highlighted, and so we don't have to go through them. So we don't have to go through them again. And I think because this motion capture data has 500 frames, so let's just show all the animation right now when we bake it. And after the bake, we can just pick the part, we can just trim it down to the part that we want. So keep those controllers selected and go into the edit and the bake animation option. All we need is just to bake out the translation and the rotation channels. We don't need some other channels. So let's just select from channel box and uncheck smart bake. We want to bake every frame. And because the last controller I picked only has the rotation, so here's the trick. You can just deselect the hip and then reselect hip. So the translation and rotation channel will be shown, and then we just bake it. Keep the channel selected, and we bake it. Okay, now you can see all the joints animation comes in with the mocap data are now transferred into our controllers. And if we open up the graph editor, we can actually see all the curves right now is there. All the curves right now is there. And even though if we delete the motion cap, even if we delete the mocap joints, all the animation are still there existing on the controllers themselves. Actually, let me just keep it for a while. Maybe later I need to transfer the fingers animation. So up till now, we successfully transferred up till now we successfully retargeted the Mixamo mocap data to the controller themselves. The next step is I will import the sci-fi chair. I will include them in the project folder. And let's just import the sci-fi chair into the scene and put our character into the right spot. I think I have already adjusted the scale of the chair, so you don't have to worry about the scale at this point. Let me just raise up the character a little bit so he actually sits in the chair properly. Let me switch up background color so it's easier to see. Okay, I think for now I may need to lower him a little bit more, and the bigger problem is that we need to change the angle of his back so he actually resting to the back of the chair, resting in the back of the chair. So, but we want to keep all the animation we have already. We just want to add on top of that. So let's just select all the controllers right now by using the picker, and under the animation tab, we select the animation tab and click that button. If you hover over that button, the information will say it's create and all the controllers to the new layer. Once you clicked it, all the base animation we had from the motion capture will be stored under the base animation layer, and it will create a new animation layer for us to do the secondary adjustment. And I think the second layer is on the additive mode, so whatever you do to the second layer will just sort of be added to the base layer. So now we just give it a key. We just key the rotation and translation in the first frame and rotate the hip. As you can see, all the base layer animation is still there. It's just it's performing on the angle that we adjusted on the second layer. Let me actually just rename the second layer as adjustment layer. See if now I turn off the second layer, it will go back to the original basic animation. And the good thing about that using the animation layer is that I can actually adjust the weight of how much it's affecting the basic layer. So if I just toggle down the weight influence, it will just give half of the influence to the basic animation. So it's pretty handy tool to do some secondary adjustment to the mocap data. As you can see right now, probably we need to adjust his spine controllers just to make him sit straight, basically. The same thing, we select all the controllers we need and just rotate a bit. And probably we need to just move the global one back a little bit, so they actually lower back is touching the chair. And the shoulder control is just a little bit tweaking here and there. Maybe we need to make him to we need to make him looking at the monitor. Properly start with the neck, and then do a little bit adjustment to the head. Okay, now if I play the animation, all the typing animation is still there. It's just his posture has been adjusted to sit in. His posture has been adjusted to work with this current chair asset. And maybe we need a little bit leg adjustment. Here's why we need to put in FK, and because we can actually independently move each joint without having to worry about the whole IKing and FK thing. Okay, just to move his leg up a bit so there's no intersecting with the geo itself. Oh no, the leg is penetrating through the keyboard, so I may need to open up the angle a little bit and move it down. And because we don't really see the leg in this shot, so I wouldn't worry too much about the leg pose. And maybe I need to lower him down a little bit since he's like still hovering. Alright, good. A little bit more. Okay, Now I'm pretty happy with the I'm pretty happy with the current posture. I'm pretty happy with the current pose. And if I toggle between the adjustment layer, you can see how much the difference it makes. And I only used one frame to adjust the posture. Actually, on the second animation layer, I can actually put another key to animate on top of the mocap data. For example, here we can see the arm might not be in a good pose, so I may need to give it some extra keyframes to adjust the pose. So the hand doesn't really go through the keyboard. Let's select the shoulder, upper arm, and forearm. And at the first frame, we keep the rotation, and let's just rotate the arm up a little bit. Maybe lower the shoulder down. Maybe lower the shoulder down a little bit. Oh no, that looks kind of awkward. Maybe lower the shoulder down a little bit. The upper arm, and just to be clear, like those kind of adjustment, first we need to get those pose looks right in the perspective view. But once we set up the camera framing and all the stuff, we may need to do another layer of adjustment based on how much we see through the camera, because this pose might not look as good as it looks in a perspective view through the camera, and so we may need to adjust the shoulder a little bit more, but that's later on when we set up the camera. Let's rotate the forearm a bit just to make him arm relax a bit. As you can see in the final shot, I didn't really show the finger interaction with the keyboard. I mean, there's some movement down there. I was trying to avoid doing the finger contact with the keyboard because I'm just a little bit lazy in this case. I try to hide as much as I can. See, like as I go through the sequence, I just find a couple keyframe that needs some fix, and that this change and the change will be kept on the second layer. This is just using example of using the animation layer to adjust, to tweak. This is just example to use the animation layer to edit the mocap data. Maybe I need to do a little bit left arm just to make it rest on top of the handle. Maybe just pull back the blade so it doesn't stab himself. And I think it's good enough. So basically, this is the general workflow for after you set up a T-pose calibrated rig, and this is just workflow to import the FBX mocap data, download from the Mixamo, and we bake it to the controller themselves. And then after that, we use a animation layer to adjust the pose and adjust the overall animation to make it work for our actual environment setup. In the next lesson, I will talk about how to set up the camera animation and how I use this chair and duplicate a couple of times just to flip-flop it to construct this whole interior kind of environment. And so I'll see you in the next one.
Purchase genuine tutorial. Enjoy the question answering from course tutor in the long term. Join the exclusive Facebook group and learn from each other. Also, you can sign up with Yihu.com. Search for the course ID. Obtain the full learning courseware, project files. Follow us on Facebook. Get closer to become a master in CG field.